Mr. Slice. Come on. You got this. Come on now. Mr. Slice, come on, interview. Mr. Slice, an interview, please. Just 1 second. Only take a second. This is Postmaster Jones live on location. I am trying to track down Mr. Slice. It looks like I'm successful. He's on the treadmill. I'm going to try to go in, and I'm going to try to sneak an interview. Let's see what I can do.
Come on, Mr. Slice, you got this. You got this. Hey, you can't be in here. Get out of here. Interviews after. Right now, I'm not the doctor. I'm his trainer. Let's go. I'm Shiloh Jones.
My name is Ron Head. I'm the announcer for OVW. I'm Jamin Olivencia.
I'm Alex Silva. I'm Rocco Bellagio.
I'm Kerry Bodie, the Ohio Valley Wrestling fan advocate.
Raphael Constantine.
I'm Rand Perez. My name's Muhammad Ali. Baez.
I'm Paradise.
This is Jack Black.
This is Ohio Valley Wrestling referee Chris Sharp.
This is Sexy Sean Casey. I'm Chris Silvio.
This is Michael Hayes. This is Jason Wayne.
And you're watching Triple Threat Talk.
And welcome everyone to yet another exciting edition of Triple Threat Talk, episode 43, aka the episode that will send Postmaster packing to Miami.
Bon voyage!
Y'all look so happy.
We're ecstatic.
We'll get into everything, the viewer questions and all that stuff in a little bit.
Viewer questions.
Viewer. Anyway,
Viewer.
The reason we're ecstatic and so filled with joy that you're going to Miami is you're going to bring back, I know, top quality journalistic footage from WrestleMania.
Top quality? Yes. Are you kidding me?
No.
Why else would I go? I mean, I'm taking my talents to South Beach. I mean, come on!
All right, LeBron.
But you're right. I am bon voyaging, as it were. But just so you know, there is something cooking, and I don't mean The Rock, that I might not be back next week.
What?
I mean, I'll be here next week.
Hold on. It says here in your contract you're obligated to be here.
I realize that, but there's a possibility that Postmaster Jones will not be at episode 44.
So let me get this straight.
I mean,
first, you go to the Arizona and miss a show.
Yeah.
And now you're going to Miami for WrestleMania. You're missing a show.
Well,
what's your point?
What's my vacation?
You don't get a vacation. You're the producer. You're the lackey around here. You
do
do all the work. You're the grunt, so you don't get a vacation.
You knew this when you signed up for this job.
That's right. It's in your contract, and I quote, Big B never gets a day off, never gets vacation, and he likes it.
And he doesn't get stock options.
Exactly.
And stock options.
Exactly.
Anyway,
But you get Cody Rhodes bashing 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
He liked the bash.
Whoa!
Less than 3 minutes in, we're already into that.
So, anyway, enough of the
tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery, as it were.
The Tom and the foolery.
Tom and foolery.
Tom and foolery.
Since I'm going to South Beach, you got to take over Tom, and you can have foolery.
Anyway, enough of that.
So now for viewer questions.
Coming up next, viewer questions.
Viewer questions.
Anyway.
From the CAW interviewer. Do you think that the WrestleMania card has the potential to be one of the best WrestleMania cards in history? Doctor.
I don't think so. I don't think it's got the... I think there's a couple matches, like the End of the Era and John Cena and Rock. Pretty much those are really the only two that... Well, maybe Jericho Punk. But, I mean, that one's kind of taken a back burner to the other two matches, even though it's a title match. I just don't think that this has it in itself to be the best wrestling. One of the best ever.
Based on the card, and we'll go over it a little bit later when we cover the WrestleMania card and do our pick'ems. Based on the card-wise, it could be up there. Matches you have like Daniel Bryan and Sheamus, they're both very good. Jericho Punk could be one of the best wrestling matches ever, just because of how good they are technically. Rock Cena, End of the Era. Randy Orton and Kane could be good too, because Randy Orton's very good, and Kane is his mask gimmick is very interesting. Cody Rhodes' big show, even though I don't want to talk about it.
I'm glad he said we'd go over the card later.
And then he's going over the card
now.
Well, I mean, we'll go more in depth later. But be one of the best ever. It's tough. it's tough because, you know, this whole card is judged by one match, in my opinion. It's Rock Cena. And depending on how that match goes, Rock and Cena, it could be judged as one of the best WrestleManias ever if it's a satisfactory match.
Well, is it one of the best WrestleMania cards ever? Yes and no. Because it really would be one of the best WrestleMania cards ever, but there's a few flaws. Number one, Cody Rhodes has a match, so that's flaw number one.
I like it. I mean, he's right. It's probably going to be the biggest fail tonight.
I'm so glad you're gone next week.
Wow, that means that you get it from me twice as much.
Oh, and he's worse than I am.
Hopefully the guest doesn't chime in.
So, and then you have this celebrity wrestling.
Maria Menounos.
She doesn't belong in the ring. She's the host of Erkstra. She doesn't belong.
She's already been in a match before.
I know, but still, it doesn't matter.
But, you know...
If you're going to say that, you got to say it like...
It doesn't matter!
There you go.
You got to know. They have to have a celebrity. They have to have a celebrity.
I know, but I just...
Well, Pitbull's going to be there, and so is
Flo
Florida.
Rida.
That's fine, but he's not wrestling.
Florida's going to be there, so...
Sometimes I get a good feeling.
I get a headache every time you open your
Wow.
Wow.
That was
Wow. So, is it one of the best ever? Yes, I think so. Jericho and Punk, Rock Cena, end of an era... List goes on and on. It will definitely top last year's because last year's was a bore fest and it was a fail.
It was pretty bad.
It was bad. It was one of the worst WrestleManias ever. You picked one of the worst ones to go to.
I was very enjoying it. It was very enjoyable.
So, from Against All Odds 20, what are you guys' feelings on Yokozuna being put into the Hall of Fame this year, and who do you think they will have induct him? Which we know that answer.
Yeah, we know it now.
I think I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one because Yokozuna was definitely pretty... I don't know. I really don't have many thoughts on Yokozuna because he was really the first sumo wrestler to kind of be in the mainstream as he was, of course, with Mr. Fuji and all that group of people that protected him, like when he fought The Undertaker, and there was that no disqualification match. And, of course, being body slammed by Lex Luger on the aircraft carrier, and I'm shocked it didn't sink it. And, you know, all these things. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the first person to ever knock him down by using the charge time after time after time. I really just don't have my thoughts on Yokozuna. I guess if it were up to me, I would have probably waited a little bit longer to induct him. I think that there's some other people, like Big B's thoughts on Macho Man Randy Savage, that could have taken his place, especially with Gil.
Not gonna happen.
But I mean, yeah, we know that there's some hang-ups with his wife and all that stuff. I know, but if it was my choice, I probably would have gone with someone else.
I'll get to the answer for the question in a second. If you don't know about the Hall of Fame, how it works, they don't just pick somebody and that's it. That's how it goes. They have to agree to it because, you know, for example, Owen Hart, people just think he should be in the Hall of Fame, but his wife is not okay to yet. She may be turning the corner eventually saying, okay, I think he should get in, but unless they agree to it, WWE can nominate whoever they want to. It just matters if they agree to it. Back to the question. I think Yokozuna deserves to be in. He is a multiple-time world champion. A guy no one the size of him ever. You know, obviously a shame he passed away a couple of years ago. You know, 800 pounds, it's going to, you know, affect you that way. But he was a very good wrestler for the size he was. Had one of the best managers ever, Mr. Fuji, who's also in the Hall of Fame as well. So I think I like Yokozuna to be in the Hall of Fame. And then obviously the other question, who do you think they'll have induct him? Well, obviously we know that it's going to be the Usos. So.
I think they should have inducted Triple Threat Talk before Yokozuna.
There we go. I agree with that.
I totally agree.
Don't you have to be retired before you get inducted, normally?
No. Look at Hulk Hogan.
Coach K.
Look at Ric Flair.
Yeah, look at him.
Look at Ric Flair. Look at Ric Flair. He says he's retiring. He goes out and 2 weeks later he's in TNA.
Yeah, look at them.
Coach K, Roy Williams, and Jim Calhoun are on
Diddy
the basketball.
We're
college.
discussing wrestling.
I know, but it's possible.
Well,
Anyway, should he be put in the Hall of Fame this year? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there, that deserve to be in there long before him.
Mm-hmm.
Just to name a few. Obviously, Macho Man's never going to happen.
I don't think so. If it wasn't going to happen this year...
it's not going to happen, I don't think. Who should be... just a couple people I think should be put in the Hall of Fame before him. I mean, I think JBL should be put in the Hall of Fame before
He'll get there.
I mean, I know he'll get in there, but I mean, Ron. What a perfect time to put him in. Why not put him in there with Ron Simmons? I
But
mean,
that's a tag team APA, or
I mean, individually, because they had a lot of different individual accolades themselves. So why not? This would have been a perfect. I know JBL's inducting Ron Simmons, but why not let JBL get it inducted in the Hall of Fame?
He'll get in there
as well?
eventually.
And I know he will, but just as a thought. I honestly think like Kevin Nash maybe should have been inducted before Yokozuna.
Honestly,
and I'm surprised with him coming back for that stint with Triple H and him being at Rumble and that it wasn't brought up or that he didn't get the call to be inducted this year.
And maybe Scott Hall too.
Well, he's got some health problems.
Well, I know, but
you can't hold that against.
Well, I'm just saying
he did very well.
Well, if he can be there, you know what I mean.
Right.
Back to the Hall of Fame. It's
Yokozuna can't be there, but they're inducting him.
Well, I know what I'm saying. With last year,
he said it.
We're gonna miss you next week.
With last year being in Atlanta, people were assuming it would be more of a WCW theme, and no one really from WCW was really there. They thought maybe like Goldberg or Nash, but no one really was there.
Gilbert. From JB11 2011.
JBL.
What do you guys like? Why do you guys like CM Punk so much? He is still the same guy. He's cocky. He's arrogant. I didn't know we were talking about the Doctor here.
No, it's very true though. But I have reasons to be.
He's not cocky, just arrogant.
I'm both.
No,
I'm both.
You're not cocky.
Or he can be like Jim Carrey on Liar Liar. What's wrong with you? I'm an inconsiderate prick.
Whoa!
I think that the reason I started liking him was that he said what everybody wanted to say. You know, whether it was planned or not, and he wanted to take this challenge to have the open mic for himself. He does that very well, and we all know that it's not scripted anymore. He basically sat down that night and said what everybody in the locker room wished they could say.
Pipe bomb.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, there's just no other reason to say it. That's why we like him. And he said exactly what needed to be said and what everyone else wishes they could say.
Yeah, I mean, following CM Punk from ROH is a very talented wrestler, first of all. I mean, he's very good in the mic. People call him a present-day Jericho just because in the ring he's very skilled. On the mic, he's very talented. I mean, how can you not like CM Punk? I mean, the guy, he's possibly also a present-day Stone Cold Steve Austin, the fact that no matter if he's a heel or a face, you got to cheer him anyway. Because when he did the thing the Doctor was mentioning, where he went off and said things that people shouldn't say on air, people cheered him for it. And it's exactly what Austin did. He did things and said things that people might in the company weren't happy with, but the fans ate it up, and that's what they're doing with CM Punk. CM Punk is different. He's very good in the ring, like I said, very good in the mic, and he's got the fan support, and that's why everyone likes him. He's just very good.
I never said I really liked him, or I never really said I disliked him, because if you remember, I said I wanted Jericho to win at WrestleMania.
Well, I do too.
But, I mean, he does speak his mind, which is good, but that's only because it's in his contract that he's allowed to speak his mind. He's allowed to say whatever he wants on the mic. That was part of the stipulation to get him to come back when he re-signed, that he can say what he wants to say and be allowed to say, kind of like The Rock. And John Cena pretty much can say what he wants to say. It's kind of in their contract, so, it is what it is there. So, And finally from JB11 2011, do you think The Rock will pass the torch to Cena at WrestleMania?
This one's hard to tell because it really doesn't. It depends on who they want to bill as the greatest of all time. If it wants to be Cena or The Rock, because like The Rock said, he beat Hulk Hogan, he beat Austin. Now all that's left is Cena. So I can easily see this one going either way. I can see The Rock sealing his legacy, and I can see Cena trying, not trying to rebuild the legacy, but definitely adding that next step into his. I think this one could go either way, and this one might end some kind of weird, funky way that we don't even know about yet.
I mean, I'm not going to give a definitive answer. I think it's going to win. I'll say that when we do the pick'ems. But, I mean, I think the torch has already been passed to John Cena before this match even takes place. When The Rock left, there wasn't really a big, huge guy for the company at that point. And, this kid comes in from, OVW, faces Kurt Angle and then doesn't really do much. And then he has this word life gimmick. It's over with the fans, and wins his title at WrestleMania 20. The Rock's lost WrestleMania, which is kind of weird. He won the U.S. title over the Big Show, and then 21 on, he was in title matches. He's 10-time champion. Obviously, he's very good in the mic, just like The Rock is. No one gets a reaction like John Cena when he comes out. Nobody. I don't care if it's you boo him or you cheer him. It's no one gets a reaction like Cena. So I think before this match even takes place, the torch has been passed to John Cena.
To say that if The Rock wins, his legacy will be cemented, Rock, you actually are a fail yourself because you forgot people. And the main person you did for you said, "Oh, I beat Austin, and I beat Hogan, and now if I beat Cena, I'll cement the legacy." You're wrong because you didn't beat Shawn Michaels,
never faced him,
or never faced Shawn Michaels. So you can't say you are the greatest ever because you didn't fight one of the greatest ever. So until you do that,
which I don't think's gonna happen.
I don't think it's going to happen now.
No.
That time came and passed.
Yeah.
Then you will never be the greatest.
Now,
John Cena, on the other hand, if he beats The Rock,
he beat Shawn Michaels.
He beat Shawn
at
Michaels
WrestleMania.
But he didn't beat Hogan or
or
Austin.
But he couldn't.
He could beat Rock.
He could beat Rock.
I think beating Michaels surpasses all of them.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So to say that if you beat Cena, you're the greatest, no, you're not, because you didn't beat Shawn Michaels, and you had your chance and you never fought him.
There's just nothing happened.
We talk about blotches a lot and botches on this show. I know that we know that we know that Michaels and The Rock never facing each other is probably one of the biggest blunders in WWE history.
They had a chance to do it at one point, and this never came to fruition. I think people would say, well, when Michaels was on his way out because of back injury, The Rock was just starting, and then from 98 to 2002 when Michaels was on the shelf, Rock took over, and in 2002 when Michaels came back, The Rock was on the door. So it just never happened. It just never happened.
Right.
I mean, if The Rock is back, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen with Shawn Michaels after this WrestleMania, so it's up in the air. They may still face each other, but I don't know.
All right. So that's viewer questions this week. We thank everybody for that. All your comments, questions, criticisms, quandaries, and queries. So with that, we turn it over to Big B.
My turn.
And it's this week's Viewer of the Week. Big B, take it away.
I shall anoint away. I wasn't really sure who I'd make Viewer of the Week this week, but since this question struck up so much debate between the three of us, I am officially naming JB11 2011 this week's Triple Threat Talk Viewer of the Week.
So with that, Big B, if you would please.
Oh, you're not going to be here next week, so you'll be here in spirit.
Doctor, give me the news. I got the bad case of the headline blues.
Yeah.
That jingle never gets old. I'm sorry.
I think it's on.
It's already old.
Just like both of you.
Whatever.
Ouch!
You calling me a grandpa?
Listen over here, young pup.
Young pup.
You whippersnapper.
Whippersnapper. Still wet behind the ears over there.
Listen here, Sonny. Don't you dare talk to me that way, okay? Now go get me some more water and get me some Fix-A-It for my teeth.
And don't forget his Metamucil in there.
Yeah, that's right.
So, last week there was a couple of contract obligations that, last week on the show we reported Tebow was officially a Jet. Turns out there were a couple snags in his contract. So he wasn't officially a Jet, but now today all we're going to say is finally Tebow is officially a Jet. Now is probably one of the worst moves a player can possibly make for
now the pictures came out, people Tebowing on a Jet. So.
Tebowing on it?
There's actually a picture of the website Tebowing. Someone actually Tebowed inside like the cylinder of a plane.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm boarding a plane tomorrow.
Are you going to Tebow on it?
I may have to Tebow
and take a picture
of a jet.
Tweet it.
Be like, it's Postmaster Jones Tebowing
on a
jet.
Bill Parcells possibly returning to coach for Sean Payton.
Yeah, this is just breaking news
this
now.
This is kind of breaking news today. Bill Parcells has said if Sean Payton were to ask him, he would probably do it. He's not concerned about the 5-year clock on the Hall of Fame, which would reset if he were to come back just for 11 months.
Right.
he's not sure, but he said he would probably have to accept, given the fact
They're friends.
They're friends, and that all he would have to do is ask. Your all's thoughts. I think it would be a good move. If you take the Hall of Fame, which he even made a good point, it's not even guaranteed, although I don't see how you can omit Bill Parcells of all people from that, but he said it's not guaranteed that he's in the Hall of Fame. I think it's a good move. I think he's right. You can't really dwell on what may be eventually down the line, because even then there's no guarantee that he's in the first class that he would be eligible for. And that there is no guarantee. There have been better coaches and players than him that have been 5 or 6 years after eligibility. So
I don't like the move, only because the team is under such scrutiny. That's what happened, and I respect Bill Parcells. He's one heck of a coach. Definitely should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why he's not yet, but he should be. For him to go in that situation with all they've been through and all the problems they already have as it is, with the GM being suspended for this many games and the linebacker assistant coach being suspended for this many games, team $500,000. The team is just under so much pressure that I would hate for him to just have to go in there and just try to fix what's broken.
I don't like it, but for a different reason. I don't like it because players can't do this, so why should coaches be allowed to do this? And it's setting a double standard, and I heard him talking about this the other day, where in the fact of if a player was suspended, you couldn't just pluck somebody off the street to take his spot just like that. It's not that easy, like a coach. So you're kind of getting something started that it could easily spiral out of control. I mean, you could have players intentionally getting suspended all the time for certain reasons, and then you just pluck any old Joe Schmo off like the Arena League or something and to replace them. So you're kind of opening a can of worms. I don't like it. I think they shouldn't be allowed to bring somebody in to take his place. They should have to suffer the consequences, because really this is kind of lessening the punishment. Really, by bringing him in, it's kind of softening the blow. I think the NFL does need to step in here and say, well, wait a second, no, we're not going to allow this to happen. You need to suffer the consequences of what you've done. Because bringing in Bill Parcells actually could help more than hurt, obviously. So you're really not getting the full effect of the suspension that the NFL levied in the first place.
I think maybe that I agree with you to an extent. I do. I think that Bill Parcells, a legendary coach, obviously, and there are a lot of implements into the Saints team that Sean Payton has said come from Bill Parcells. And here's where I don't agree where I don't agree at. Given the fact that when you take away the coaches and the players that were involved, although I do think it's despicable, the bounties. We all agreed on that for the same reason. I do think the act is despicable, but where I don't agree is punishing people that weren't involved, which is pretty much the offense. The offense may well not even have known about it, because there's offensive coaches and defensive coaches, and they do that for a reason. So I don't agree with punishing those people who potentially may not have even known about this program. And I think Bill Parcells putting and let's not forget that when a player or a coach is suspended, they are so without pay for this severe of a crime. Like Sean Payton will lose his entire paycheck next year, and that's no small chunk of change. I think they said it's $5 or $6 million. Right. So I think it's meant to punish him and those involved in the program. And if you can bring in somebody like Bill Parcells and able to, I think that is a good thing. But I definitely see your point of view. I see where you're coming from. It's not like I can go at it tooth and nail saying, "Oh no, you're crazy, you're crazy." No, because it's one of those things where you're caught in the middle. I don't agree that they should be penalized for something that they did not do if they didn't know about it, certain people. But I definitely think that it could also help them. I'm kind of in the middle right there. That's a very good point.
Right. All right.
Another thing, Jimmy's golfer buddy, Tiger Woods.
What? Whoa! Why is it my golfer buddy?
Your Facebook tweet. Woohoo! He won one. You were very excited.
Whoa, let's clarify. That's not what I said.
Your Facebook tweet.
Your Facebook tweet.
And that's not what I said. Post. I said something to the effect of, "Way to go, Tiger! The best golfer in the world has returned." And you put. Wait, where's Luke Donald being a smart aleck? Which
I chose to stay out of that one.
Not surprising as always. He likes to leave smart aleck remarks to the comment.
Why don't you call him the doctor or smart aleck? I don't know.
I made it a point to say that because even though he's not the number one golfer right now, he's still the greatest golfer in the world. He may not have been playing like it here the last several years, but he's still one of the greatest ever, if not the greatest ever. And he won a tournament for the first time since 2009. Mm-hmm. Sets him up to be the favorite for the Masters, and as well as should. And I also said the Masters is going to be epic.
The Masters will be good.
Which the Masters will be epic, because I think Tiger has a darn good shot to win it this year. Mm-hmm. I love the way he's playing. He won by 5 shots the other day, which is very good. That's a little bit of a dominance for him. I would love nothing more. I mean, we all have demons, okay? Mm-hmm. Tiger can't help it. He's a man whore. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. We all have a problem that we sometimes got to get under control, or we can't help. Okay, I get past that. I realize that it's not my fault that he cheated on his wife. Okay, that's not my fault. I look at him from the golfing standpoint. And I would love nothing more than for Tiger Woods to go out there and just obliterate the field. I would love it. It would be great. More people would tune in if Tiger Woods had a 10-shot lead on Sunday with his red Nike shirt on and dominating than they would if, say, Rory McIlroy and Phil Mickelson were going at it.
I'm going to disagree with the Phil Mickelson part because Phil Mickelson
I just threw somebody out there.
He just threw somebody out there. I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying, but Phil Mickelson, I think you're right. I think you can also throw Phil Mickelson into more people would tune in with a 10-shot lead going into the last day because Phil Mickelson, like it or not, even when Tiger was winning, was America's golfer because of the story with his wife and because of all the adversity that he's overcome. Phil Mickelson is definitely America's golfer. I think people think Tiger's a good story because he is probably. He's not the greatest ever yet because he'll never catch Jack. Jack Nicholson is definitely the greatest golfer of all time. There is no doubt about that.
Never say never, my friend. But he's right there on his heels. He's
got 2 or 3 more to go. I don't think he can do it. Like I said when we talked about this a while ago, I think he has 1 major left in him, Tiger Woods. I don't think he catches Jack.
He could go on a run and win 2, 3, or all 4 this year. It's very possible. I mean, he could catch fire and keep playing the way he played this past weekend, and he could easily be the Tiger of old and come out and win 2 or 3 majors this year. And then again, he could flop.
And I know you want to say something. I do. I do want to throw out there, though, that this Arnold Palmer Invitational was a very weak field overall. I do want to point that out. So I don't want to just turn into something that it's not because he's still way, way down in world standing. I think the world points that you get out of this
the top 10 now.
Is he equivalent to like 3 or 4? He was never really off of the. He was in the top 20. So
yeah, but he moved back to the top 10.
This move definitely did put him back in the top 10.
He's like 7th, 8th, somewhere in that area.
But I was going to disagree with 2 things and agree with what you just said. I think this is not a big deal. Let's see how he plays at the Masters, and if he like you said, wins or gets close, then you can say, okay, he's getting back in the groove of things. Things are starting to click. He's going to get there again. But I disagree with 2 things. I disagree with 1. He said if he goes with a 10-shot lead on Sunday, people are going to tune in. Personally, I wouldn't tune into that because if he's got a 10-shot lead, I know he's going to win. I really don't want to see him dominate. I want to see
people love to see that though.
I can see.
I want to see. I want to see a close. I like to see maybe him by maybe 3 or 4 shots against like Rory McIlroy, who people think is one of the best golfers right now. That'd be interesting to see because he's not completely out front, but he's right there, so he has a little bit of the lead. He can be caught, and then. I just don't see Tiger catching Nicklaus. I really don't. Especially since what's happened, he's kind of fallen off. Again, like you said, never say never. If he can get back, if he can do well at the Masters, let's see how he does it in the Masters. If he can win or be second or right there, and he plays well and he just misses by a little bit, then maybe you can get the conversation again. Maybe he can catch Jack. Maybe.
I say if he finishes in the top 5, we revisit this conversation and see what happens.
Remember.
The 5th of November.
No.
Sorry, it's too easy.
Last year, he had a shot to win the Masters. He finished in the top 5 last year at the Masters.
And that's why he didn't drop completely, because I think they said if it wasn't for that Masters, exactly what PostMaster just said, he probably would have been in the top 50.
Yeah.
And would be nowhere near number 1 right now.
Right.
So I guess we'll review that in 2 weeks. Because the Masters will be over and we'll know who won.
Exactly.
Guys, I think the flux capacitor was invented this weekend.
Oh, really?
Because we went back into 1983.
Really?
Almost.
The year I was born.
The year you were born.
I wasn't born
Almost.
You weren't even born yet.
1983.
Easy, watch what you say there.
You weren't even a twinkle in your father's eye yet.
Watch what you say there.
1983 was the last time UVK and U of L met in the NCAA tournament. It is the story of this tournament thus far, besides Missouri and Duke losing to 15 seeds in one day. And here it is, right here. The cover of the Leo.
They can actually see that.
It says, "United we stand, divided we
It's
ball."
like caricature of Calipari and Bettino.
This is the biggest story of the tournament. It's 1983, the original Dream Game. This, even though this is the Final Four, this isn't going to come close to topping the Dream Game because of the politics. The Dream Game is what started the current rivalry. I mean, that is. And so you're not going to, all the years of great basketball that these two schools have given us, you can't just take that. This is definitely going to probably be the second most important meeting of their time, but this has taken over the state. UVK and U of L playing this Saturday, 6:08 tip-off time, in the Final Four. It's the first time two teams from the same state in the Final Four in 50 years, and the Cats opened early Saturday with an 8-point favorite out in Vegas. Guys, what are your thoughts?
You know, it's no surprise to me that Kentucky is where they're at. No surprise. I had them winning the whole thing. I did have Louisville going to the Elite Eight. But something mystic happened when Louisville won the game against Florida. Because no one was shocked that Kentucky destroyed Baylor. Baylor is not up to the team of Kentucky. Kentucky just outclassed them in every sense of the word. But the fact that Louisville was down by so much, and people writ them off, saying it's over, Florida's going to play Kentucky in the Final Four, and that's it for Louisville. They made it as far as they could. They won the Big East tournament. Congratulations, you guys. Heck of a season. But something happened because it was destined to happen. It was destined that Louisville's going to play Kentucky in this game. The biggest basketball game in college basketball history, I would say. One of, if not the biggest, because of where the two teams are located. So you have Louisville, who, let's face it, no one saw this coming. We thought they'd lose in the Big East tournament early. They won. We had them going to the Elite Eight. They're in the Final Four. Can they beat Kentucky? I don't know. They played Kentucky hard in December. They only lost by 7 points, which the spread, as you said, was 8. This is going to be a heck of a game. I think Kentucky's going to win, but I would not be surprised if Louisville pulled the upset.
It's taken over not just the state, but national media as a whole. I mean, all over. The biggest story of Calipari versus Pitino, Louisville versus Kentucky, and the headline on, I think it was Monday, in the Courier Journal, the Louisville paper here, said Civil War, and Louisville versus Kentucky. It's going to be a darn good game. 8 points is ridiculous. I think the final of this game is going to be 5 or less, maybe even 1 or 2 point difference. One thing you have to understand, what you have to realize is, and he said it before, and you've said it before, and I've said it numerous times, and they talk about it all the time. When you give Rick Pitino a week to prepare for one team specifically, don't worry about anything else other than that one team, he's very dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, look how they just basically broke down Michigan State. I mean, they did. I mean, it was a defensive clinic. I mean,
Michigan State shot horrible.
They shot horrible. Louisville was all over them. Gorgie Jang it was a block party. I mean, so it will definitely be a close game. If Louisville wins, I won't be shocked. If Kentucky wins, I mean, I won't be shocked because I mean it'll be.
Everyone thought that.
Everybody thought Kentucky would be in the national title game, but I don't think it'll really. I really think that when that ball is in the air and that opening tip and that first second clicks off the clock, I think that's when everybody will finally realize just exactly what they're watching. It'll be one of the most epic games ever to watch. Like you'll realize and you'll be like, oh my god, this is actually really happening. I mean, because we can sit here and talk about it, and the media can talk about it, and it can be in the newspaper, the internet, whatever. But when that game tips off, everybody will probably just go, wow, it really is happening. This is happening.
This game is their national championship because Louisville could win, or Kentucky can win, and then they get to the national championship. They either win or lose, but if they lose the national championship, but they beat their rival school, they'll be like, we lost the national championship, but we beat that team to get here. We stopped their season. That's exactly what these two teams are going to try to do Saturday. And the fact that, like you said, the team has a week to prepare, they got a good game plan. What I think is cool about this game, no matter what, the state of Kentucky will have a representative in the national championship game, and I think that has something to be said on its own. And for the fact that 50% of the Final Four and almost 30% of the Sweet 16 were from this region. Yeah, I mean, you could have an Ohio Valley final. Right, and actually, you could even 75% of the Final Four technically is from this region because Ohio State is still alive. Right. And as you all know, I picked Ohio State, Kentucky in the championship
You're right
match.
there.
And I think when you expand beyond this game, what this means to both teams, what this means for both fan bases. I mean, there was a story breaking out that happened in Georgetown, Kentucky, of two fans getting into a fight at a dialysis center. They were receiving dialysis, and two U of L fans were talking to each other, and a UK fan butted in, and fists started getting thrown. And the cops said they'd never seen anything like that before. A fight at a dialysis center.
Wow.
Of all places.
Wow.
So when you look at the long-term effects of this game, I think Kentucky does win. I agree with you. I think it's going to be 5 points or less, if that. And, it's one of those things where they should have destroyed Baylor. John Calipari on national television after the game said, what happened to the team? He said their stupid coach called off the reins a little bit, obviously referring to himself. Telling him to ease up on Baylor because they just want, I guess, to cruise on. Yeah. Which is smart but stupid at the same time because Baylor was able to close it to within 10. The one thing I'll say about Baylor is there's a story, and this is actually legit, it's not a joke or anything. If you saw Baylor play in this tournament up until the Elite Eight when they play Kentucky, they wore those really neon green. Yeah, this terrible neon green jerseys. And it was working for them. They were winning, and then they put in a request to wear those because it was like a good luck charm against Kentucky, and they denied it because Kentucky was the higher seed, so they get to wear the choice of the jersey, and Baylor didn't get to use the neon green. So people are saying that kind of why they didn't play as well as they did. I disagree with that completely. But it's an interesting topic because they wore those jerseys and they kept dominating. And they got. It's
funny you say that because Louisville gets to wear the infrared jerseys, and they've yet to lose in the infrared jerseys. So, but one quick thing I will say. And I've heard a lot of people say this, and I think I agree. If Louisville wins rather than Kentucky, I think if Kentucky wins, it's to be expected. Right, yeah. Right. But if Louisville wins, it will kill most of the Kentucky fan base.
They'll kill him, I know that.
No, not him. That's why I said most. I didn't say all.
I
said most.
Deep inside in the pit of his soul as a Kentucky fan, it will hurt him a little bit. No, and I'll tell you why it won't hurt me. I'll let you finish your point, but since he's going to me directly here, I don't think it will because we want. I mean, I know that this is more than a regular season game. I don't think that I know what you're saying, exactly what you're saying. But for the intelligent Kentucky fan base, most, not all. Right, and I think for the intelligent Kentucky fan base, will realize we beat U of L earlier in the year, and they'll just be evening the odds here. Yeah, it's for marbles in the regular season game. Marbles and then some. It's for the Governor's Cup, so I get that, I understand that. So we would have a trophy, and they would have a trophy. To me, it would cancel it out. Yeah, it would suck, but I don't think you could. This year, you wouldn't be able to say either team was dominant over the other. And anybody, I don't see how you could possibly say that anyways. Right. With pending. Yeah. Because U of L has accomplished so much by winning the Big East tournament and all that stuff. I don't see how you can label one team as dominant, win or lose this game either way. Yeah, I'll say this. I mean, it might come as a surprise, but I think Louisville's the hotter team.
I mean, yeah, they were coming off the. I mean, yeah, for sure.
They beat a 1 seed.
They won the Big East tournament,
Right.
Which Kentucky didn't win theirs, obviously.
Right. But obviously, UK can't beat a 1 seed because they are.
Well, I mean, I'm saying
right.
UK didn't win their conference. Louisville did. Louisville went on a string of wins that people didn't think they would, beating Michigan State and coming back from so far down against Florida. So I think Louisville's the hotter team.
Yeah. What's your?
No, I was just gonna say that I've heard a lot of people say that if Louisville wins, it will absolutely kill a lot of the Kentucky fans, like the diehard crazies, not like the
who don't think Louisville should be there.
Like the ones that say Louisville shouldn't be there, the ones that all they say is hate U of L, screw U of L. They will just like be suicidal. You have to put them on suicide watch for that.
Yeah, people are saying that, seriously.
And like they were saying, like most U of L fans, even a lot of the diehards will be like, if Kentucky wins, yeah, they'll be pissed and they'll say the things that what they say. But they won't take it as near as bad because we weren't supposed to be here.
You guys are playing with house money.
It's like they said, Rick Pitino has nothing to lose. He's playing with house money.
Yeah.
It's and one other thing, and we'll move on from this. Kentucky has 2 losses this year.
Vanderbilt and
Indiana. 2 of their biggest rivals. Now they're playing their biggest rival.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting that Kentucky has beat everybody.
Yeah.
And they lost, and they avenged the loss to Indiana.
And they beat Vandy twice.
They beat Vandy twice.
But Vandy got the last laugh.
But
like he said before,
the
odds are bound to even out eventually.
Yeah.
Like the Murphy's Law says, eventually
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Right.
So, but it's going to be great. I can't wait. And it's
I know we covered that, but there was another game too.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to go ahead and cover basketball here since this is a basketball topic. UK did beat Baylor 82-70. Kansas beat North Carolina 80-67. U of L did beat Florida, obviously 72-68, and Ohio State beat Syracuse 77-70 to make your Final Four. UK, Kansas, Ohio State, and U of L.
I'll say this. I think I'll pick Ohio State, Kansas first before I pick UK, U of L. I still don't know who I'm going to pick for that one, but
you already said you'd take Kentucky.
I did.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll stick with that. I guess I think Kentucky, they're the team this year. Ohio State and Kansas. I like Kansas, and I'll say why. Because that game with North Carolina was as close as a game I've seen since this tournament started. And then Kansas they pulled away.
But you can attribute that to North Carolina not having their point guard.
Well, yeah, that too, but the game was so close, and then out of nowhere, Kansas just goes on a 13-point run and wins the game.
I'll say this, and you call me crazy.
I do that anyway.
I know.
On the show, off the show,
I know.
on the phone, on Facebook.
The winner of the Kansas-Ohio State game is your national champion.
I don't think so.
Reason why? The game between U of L and UK, it's going to be so emotionally charged up. There's so much emotion, and it's so revved up for that game. They're going to have to come off this big high, no matter who wins. The biggest high of highs, because it's going to be such a emotion.
And play Monday too.
And then turn around and play
Monday.
2 days later.
Yeah.
I don't know if either team can recover. I think Kansas will win. I like that. I think Kansas will win, and I'm going against my Cardinals, and I'm picking Kentucky. I'll say Kentucky and Kansas in the championship game.
Kansas.
But I think Kansas win because I think for that reason. I think the emotional charge.
Good point.
And going from this high and have to come back down to earth in less than basically 2 days and play for the biggest prize in college basketball. It's going to be too much, and I think Kansas wins the national title.
I think I can't change mine since both my championship picks are still in, obviously.
Right.
And I wouldn't even if I could, because I definitely think Jared Sullinger is more than a match for Thomas Robinson. And I think what's going to happen here is Ohio State is going to win. UK is going to win. I think UK will end up cutting down the nets, and it's because these kids are young men. I mean, these are young men athletes, and I think that what they do here is both teams are going to have physical games. I mean, Ohio State, Kansas is probably going to come down to 3 or 4 points, just like UK, U of L. They're going to have that day to recharge. You add that to their youth, they're going to be good to go. I understand the emotional pedestal and the emotional charge, but you give them a day to recover from that. I think they're going to be okay. I think UK is the one cutting down the nets, and they get number 8. I think.
Should be good.
It should be. So, tennis, my friend?
Well, I got one quick NBA headline before I go to the tennis news. This is, you're probably saying, NBA, you never ever cover NBA. Well, this week I'm going to. The Atlanta Hawks defeated the Utah Jazz 139-133. You're saying, okay, who cares? Well, it was 4 overtimes. 4 overtimes. The first since the Phoenix Suns defeated the Portland Trailblazers 140-139 in 1997.
Pretty
4
good.
overtimes.
That's pretty good.
It's ridiculous.
Nothing top Syracuse, Connecticut, though.
6 overtimes was awesome.
Ridiculous.
It was great.
So now,
I stayed up for every minute of that.
5-hour game.
It was great. I stayed up and watched every minute of that. I didn't watch. I
Didn't
didn't
it
miss
go
a
off to like
scene.
2 in the morning?
I watched every.
That
minute.
was
It
an
was
amazing
great.
game.
That was like.
I was on
I didn't
an
even have
airplane.
a. I didn't even have a rooting interest, but it was like TV. You just captivating TV. You couldn't leave the television.
I was on an airplane, and when I landed and found out that was going on, I was so mad that I missed it.
It was great. I watched it live. I'm glad I.
They really need to sell the DVD of that game.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
and now, time for tennis talk.
So it's nap time for me and the doctor.
I'm going to take a nap. That's disrespectful. Anyway, so first update, Sony Ericsson Open, which is a tournament in Miami, which you're going to.
Yeah, so they're there too.
Yeah. Well, they'll be there till Sunday. Sunday's last day. So WrestleMania's the last day for them.
I'm gonna hit the swing over there and be like,
You get some footage.
so like every time they go to swing the racket, as it were, I could be like that. The skit on Jeff Dunham when he talks about the car and he's like, I'm gay. I'm gay. Every time they swing the.
I really hate that remark. Anyway, so women's quarterfinal update. Sharapova advances to the semifinals by defeating French Open champion Li Na 6-3, 6-0.
Li Na.
And then Wozniacki, who played Serena Williams. Serena Williams has never lost to Wozniacki until now. Wozniacki wins 6-4, 6-4. In the men's, Marty Fish, Joe Willie Zonga, Tipsarevic, and Ferrer all advance. Andy Roddick pulled the big upset over Roger Federer, beating him. Federer and Roddick have played 24 times. Roddick only beat him twice before this point. He beats him a third time. And then he comes back and loses to Juan Monaco 7-5, 6-love, so Roddick is out. Andy Murray defeats Gilles Simon 6-3, 6-4. World number 2 Rafael Nadal defeats Kei Nishikori 6-4, 6-4. And number 1 Novak Djokovic beats Gasquet 7-5, 6-3. Marquee matches for tonight was going to be Andy Murray and Jakub Tipsarevic, but the match has already taken place. Tipsarevic loses in 3 sets. Murray wins 4-6, 6-3, 6-4. And as we're filming this, Nadal is playing Joe-Wilfried Tsonga for a spot in the semifinals. I believe semifinals or quarterfinals. I'm not sure. But Nadal takes on Tsonga, and Tsonga's got a good game, so he could pull the upset. And Nadal's never won in Miami, so it's pretty shocking. So the finals are Saturday and Sunday. Who I think is going to win? I like Sharapova to win this one. She's playing really well. I think she's going to win on Saturday. And as far as Sunday goes, I think Djokovic wins this tournament again.
Watch your tongue.
What?
Andy Murray.
No, I
Andy
think
Murray.
Djokovic wins this tournament again.
All right.
Before we get into Full Metal Jousting coverage, just a couple NFL rule changes as we're here. Some breaking news. Postseason rules now apply to all overtime games in the regular season.
Is that definite, or are they?
That's definite.
Are they
That is
discussing
definite. Because the owners' meetings ended today. That is definite. So for those of you that aren't familiar with it, if the team that gets the ball first gets a field goal instead of a touchdown, the other team does have a chance to respond. And from there, each team will have a chance to possess the ball at least once.
Mm-hmm.
So
The Steelers didn't get that chance, did they?
no, they didn't.
They got T-boned.
Because they got T-boned.
Unleash!
Unleash!
Week 8 is now the trade deadline. Preseason rosters are expanded to 90, which is pretty cool.
G.O.P.
And all turnovers now are reviewed.
I like that a lot.
I
love that.
All turnovers now are reviewed without the expense of a timeout.
Yeah. I wish they would get rid of the one where they review every touchdown, because sometimes it's a waste.
And then just a quick note, you will win if you watch the show, and you will win every bar bet. They were talking about this on Mike and Mike this morning. I was not aware of this answer, so I learned something. The only player in the MLB to appear in the last 6 All-Star games is not Derek Jeter or A-Rod. It is
Brian McCann of the Atlanta Braves.
The Atlanta choke artists.
Those are fight words.
Don't you dare trash talk my Atlanta Braves.
Guess
How
what?
dare you?
Guess what?
I already did it. Brian McCann, one of the best catchers in Major League Baseball today, has that record. I am proud that he has that record. I mean, in all the adversity he's faced with his eye, you know he's had a lot of problems with his eyes.
His knees, too.
His knees,
He's
too.
got being a catcher.
Some knee problems.
Yeah, right. So, good little note there, Doc. Good nugget of news there. So, good to know. So
Now go straight with your jousting.
Straight with jousting. NHRA has the week off again. Again.
We will talk about going left shortly.
Yeah, we will.
Joy.
Full Metal Jousting this week. They started the quarterfinal match. That'll be the second joust I'll talk about. The last preliminary match was James from the red team versus Joe from the black team. Pass 1, James broke a lance. Pass 2, they both got a strike. Pass 3 and 4, both of them missed to make the halftime score 6-1. Pass 5, the missing continues as they both miss yet again. On the 6th pass, Joe got a broken lance. On the 7th pass, Joe got another broken lance, but James got a strike. On the final pass, incredibly, James got an unhorsing to make the final score 17-12. The red team wins that joust. And the first quarterfinal match was the Wrecking Machine, Josh Knowles, versus red team's Paul. Stop writing about me, you jackanapes.
We're not writing about you.
I know,
We're not writing about you. Go ahead. Keep going.
The first pass, Josh got a monstrous hit, but since it happened outside the strike zone, there's a red zone. If a strike occurs before that area ends, it does not count. Because Josh knocked Paul right off of his horse, and that didn't count. So it was a rerun, but on the repass, Paul got a strike, and Josh got a broken lance. On the second and third pass, Paul got a strike. On the fourth pass, both missed to make the halftime score 5-3. On the fifth pass, both missed again. On the sixth,
I am befuddled.
Hell broke loose on the sixth pass as they both unhorsed each other hard. Both of them, you would think, surrounded with 80 pounds of armor, you would just thud to the ground. Both guys hit each other so hard, they bounced at least once before they hit the ground and settled. Which, with 80 pounds of armor on, cannot feel good.
By the way, isn't 3 strikes you're out?
3 strikes.
I don't know if you're talking about baseball or bowling.
I know. But anyways, on the 7th pass, Josh knocked Paul off again for another unhorsing. The 8th pass, Paul got a strike, but it's not enough. Josh, the Killing Machine Knowles, 25-14.
Killing Machine.
That's what they nicknamed him on the show. He is now the Killing Machine. 25-14, your final in that one.
I think we should have like a official jousting translator for what you're talking about.
I know.
I explained the rules at the beginning.
Well, that's like
when we first started.
I think we need to hire somebody to translate this.
William Regal.
There you go, William Regal.
I think he's busy. So
I'll translate that final one for you. Josh beat the ever-loving crap out of Paul.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
So moving on from that.
That's it for headlines.
Not so fast, my friend.
Of course. We can't forget about going left.
That's right. We're going left, and we're going left. I'm singing
on the
in
delay.
the rain.
Going left.
Singing in the rain.
All right, Fred Astaire.
Obviously, you can't race NASCARs in the rain. They don't have rain tires. They don't have headlights. They don't have windshield wipers. But all that aside, strategy does play into these rain-shortened races. And it was well documented that the boys were probably going to be racing the half wet. All that aside, Tony Stewart looked like Tony Stewart of Homestead, pulling the slide jobs and weaving in and out of traffic and motoring his way to the front. On his way to get another victory, his second win of the season. He wins the Auto Club at the Auto Club Speedway of California. That's a lot to say. It's a very wide track. It's like a little over 2 miles long. They can go somewhere it's like 5 wide on the track, so it's very wide open. Very few cautions, so it kind of makes for a ho-hum race because it's so wide open. But it is his second win of the year already, which is very surprising because usually he's a late bloomer. He likes to get going around the summertime.
Late bloomer.
Yeah, definitely. But I love it. I think it's great.
Kyle Busch was leading for so long.
Kyle Busch led 70-plus laps. He came up just a tick short. He finished second. Jimmy Johnson caught a break. Again. This is getting old. He had a very bad oil leak when the rains came, and he probably would have got a DNF. But because of where he was at on the track, and because the race got rained out, he was able to salvage a top 10 finish. Now, had they gone back to green, he obviously would have had to gone out. They would have had to fix it, so he would have got a terrible finish out of it. So, no thanks to the caution and the rain on that. But so moving on from one of the biggest tracks to another small track, they call it the Paperclip. It is Martinsville. It's shaped like a paperclip.
Yeah.
So easily amused.
That's right.
So it's shaped like a paperclip. I've been there several times. It's very cool to see. I kid you not, you would laugh because you're going down the highway and all of a sudden you see a Wendy's and the track sits behind a Wendy's. I mean, it's so like random and so like
Pit stop.
So get your more beef before you go to the track.
right.
Where's the beef?
So
Pit stop.
Tony Stewart's the defending winner at this track. He won there last October. Looking to repeat there. So it should be a good one. It's always a good one. It's a short track. A lot of bumping, banging, and bruising.
Rubbing.
Rubbin's racing.
Rubbin is racing.
So 500 laps at Martinsville. So if I'm not here next week, I count on you guys to cover it. So do your research. And don't let me
I
down.
kind of know a little bit. Not a lot. Not
Don't
as much
let
as
me
Postmaster on this.
Don't let me down.
Don't let me down.
down.
Whoa!
All right.
So this week
This week.
in OVW coverage.
All right. Well,
Well, first off, do you want to throw out a DWA spoiler like we said we would?
I didn't plan on that.
Last week on the show.
All right, but don't spoil anything. Like, don't really give a lot away.
You want to say what's new? The in charge portion of
No, that's
Is
not
that huge?
That's gonna wait for the show.
What do you want to give away?
I'll give you this. I'll give you
ahead.
this. Since we've been gone for so long, and if you remember the last time we were on air, we had a thing called the Lansburton Open. Well, I can say that right now. Destruction that's going to start over.
Right.
Everyone's going to get a fair shot. It's going to be started over. The participants will be known when the show airs April 27th, so keep posted for that. And also,
Because the Lance Burton, I do want to move it, but the Lance Burton idea was an idea that I presented to you, and it's just never been done. And those of you that know DWA, TNA, WWE, they've never done anything like this, and I'm surprised because it's there. It's so easy to think of. And I brought the idea up to Big B, and he was like, "You know what? I like this idea.
Yeah.
Let's do it."
and then also I'll throw another thing out there. If you know our shows, Destruction and Voltage. Destruction will be commentated by me and the Doctor, but Voltage will be commentated by me and Postmaster Jones. So look out for that commentary.
And of course, the pay-per-views.
Pay-per-views with all three of us, so look out for that April 27th, and it should be a fun ride.
Should be a fun ride.
Anyway,
So OVW this week.
OVW,
Our interview
our interview,
is
it's a
with-
repeat!
well, sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Technically, it's not.
It's a repeat.
Anyway,
We got to know this person.
it's the
individual.
#1 contender for the OVW
OVW
World Heavyweight title, Mr. Shiloh Jones.
I'm going to nickname him Swingin' Shiloh Jones.
Really?
Hey.
I hate that.
Here's
name.
here's the interview.
Yeah, take it away.
Welcome, Triple Threat Talk fans. You are here with the Doctor interviewing our first repeat interview.
First ever.
First ever repeat interview, Mr. Shiloh Jones. Say hello to the folks at home.
How are you, everybody?
Yeah, you may remember him earlier on. He was with Johnny Spade, his team OMG, still tagging up. Today, however, we wanted to submit you out a little bit because last week you had a nice little match with Jamin in which the family got involved. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, throughout my entire OVW career, there's one man I can count on to bring it every time. One man I know is one of my toughest, most fierce competitors, and that's Jamin Olivencia. We left it all in the ring, and circumstances abound from what I've heard. I didn't see it myself, but I won that match, and got a big title match coming up afterwards. So.
Yeah, and that's the next question we want to ask you. Your tag team partner, Johnny Spade, smooth Johnny Spade, the new championship belt. He's got the new championship belt around him. He is the new OVW champion. What are your thoughts for your upcoming match?
Well, Johnny Spade isn't just the OVW champion. He's my best friend, tag team partner. We've won belts together. But this upcoming Saturday, this is going to be the biggest match of my career. And Johnny Spade, you're my friend and all, but I'm going to bring it to you. I'm going to bring it hard. And I'm going to put everything out on the line to make sure I get that belt when it's all said and done.
And I know that it's gonna be hard for us too, because we like you both. You know, the fans here, they love you both. You guys are Team OMG, and this is kind of like an OMG match. Like really, the two best friends facing off against each other. So we're definitely excited for that.
It's gonna be a good one.
And I wanted to ask you one last question. We've seen you delving into the realm of ROH recently, and you've been doing quite well. What are your expectations for yourself moving forward in ROH?
Well, thanks to my time here in OVW, the best place to learn this craft. A lot of doors are opening up for me, Ring of Honor, opportunities elsewhere. I'm just going to walk through these doors as fast as I can, get as much exposure as I can, and I expect some big things this year. So.
Tyler, we want to sincerely thank you for your time. We know you're a very busy gentleman. First repeat guest. Our first repeat guest. This guy right here, no one else can say they were Triple Threat Talk's first repeat guest. That honor goes to Shiloh Jones.
I want to thank especially Shiloh Jones for doing that for us. Really appreciate it. Also want to thank OVW for all of
that shirt.
Yeah, it was nice.
What was?
It was a nice tie.
Yeah,
anyway,
good time.
where's your tie at?
Where was your
my
tie?
other pants.
But I want to thank OVW for all they do for us, letting us come into their homes, so to say, and so to speak, from their home and do that with them, and throw their name out for us every single week. Really appreciate it. It's just an awesome thing. So.
Anyways, covering last week's taping.
So the show opens up with Trailer Park Trash. He's in to get some kind of message in an envelope.
Not in a bottle.
Not in the bottom?
Some kind of message in an envelope.
Really?
So before we can figure out what's going on with that envelope, Ted McNailer and Adam Revolver start going at it again. Again. So McNailer goes swing a chair at Revolver, but on the backswing, bonk, knocks Miss Brittany Deveray. Oops.
Ouch.
That'll land someone in the doghouse.
Yeah.
And then
I
Joe
would think
Coleman and Michael Hayes had a match set up because Michael Hayes was displeased by the way they were treating Nikki, who's the water boy for Bowling Services 2.0. So Michael Hayes came to the rescue there, and I really like that because, as you know, I'm probably the biggest Michael Hayes fan out there.
I don't like Michael. So, and then Taylor Hendricks took on the great Cheyenne, and Taylor Hendricks picked up the victory. I still don't know what's going on with her and Dylan.
Dylan
Bostic. No idea what's going on there. Any interesting thing going on there for you? What do you think about that?
I think Dylan's the man. That's pretty much what
I mean, something's going on there. They're smitten or something.
They're smitten.
Something's going on.
Then after that, the match between Coleman and Hayes took place, and Michael Hayes picked up the victory with the... What's he call that move? I don't even know.
I just call it
code breaker.
I call it the code breaker, but I mean, it's freaking amazing.
Oh, that's nice. Sounds good. So, then we had a new edition of Straight Talk. If you saw the show, we were going...
That was us.
Espinoza.
Espinoza.
It was pretty awesome.
He didn't do it either. He just clapped.
He did. At least he clapped. You just sit there and look like a retard with your stupid...
And we had the whole arena replying back to us.
Sucks!
Yeah, I'll tell you this, because this was not on air. All right, we'll get back to the coverage in a second. Before they were setting up the ring for a Straight Talk, putting the chair and all stuff in the ring. We were doing that Espinoza chant for at least a good 5-6 minutes. And it was going. It was great.
It kept going. It kept going. It kept going.
Yeah, commentary from Dean Hill and Gilbert Corsi. They were just stunned. It kept going. They were like...
Oh,
no!
Because of you!
No! It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
We'll get it.
Oh, my
Anyway, back to the coverage.
I can't tell you what that was.
Straight Talk with Espinoza. He was given a bit of a man code of what not to do. And then Paradise comes out and gives him some kind of code about pixie fairies.
I don't get that.
Pixie fairies.
Paradise, what was that? Really?
Do you want to be a pixie fairy?
No.
How about you?
No.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So that was that. And then Espinoza got a little bit of that's when he got attacked by Pirates after that. Chris Silvio defended his TV title again against some guy named the Great Malachi. And Silvio won.
I know.
again.
It makes me yawn. I'm sorry. I get tired of seeing it.
I like Silvio, but I wish we would face people that,
You can actually lose to?
Yeah. So that was
Thank
that.
you.
And then the main event, Shiloh Jones, who was tonight's interview, took on Jamin Olavencia for a shot at
Stop that now.
for a shot at Johnny Spade's OVW heavyweight title, which is a gorgeous belt for sure.
It is gorgeous.
Shiloh Jones picked up the win, but due to outside interference from Muhammad Ali Vaez, and Shiloh said he didn't want to win that way. So we'll see what happens with Shiloh as he faces Smooth Johnny Spade soon. Then the main part of the show, the ending of the show. Trailer Park Trash is going to deliver the letter. Before he can do that,
Take a letter, Marie.
before he can do that, a match for the Saturday Night Special was made
Really?
with Rob Terry taking on Mr. Trailer Park Trash.
What is Trailer Park Trash thinking? Rob Terry will split him in half.
But as we all know, if Josette makes the match, Trailer Park Trash
makes the
stipulation.
stipulation.
That's right. So the stipulations that were made were, number one, none of the family is allowed at ringside.
What?
None. No Ali. No Rudy.
What?
No Jesse.
Oh, come on.
None of them.
Oh my god! Yeah.
None of them. So that wasn't it.
Oh, you're good. Leave it there. It's
All right.
done.
That wasn't it.
Leave it there.
That was the only stipulation.
What?
Joseph Bynum is banned from the building.
Oh my! This is getting ridiculous. This is so one-sided. This is fixed.
But there was one more stipulation added. One more.
Another one.
If Rob Terry wins,
Yeah.
then Trailer Park Trash loses his power as director of operations.
Yes.
But if Trash wins,
I don't bought that.
if Trash wins, Joseph Bynum loses her power as talent.
No.
So,
That's a fail.
interesting match for the Saturday Night Special April 7th, which I will be attending. I know he won't be there because this will be in the South Beach taking his talent. Maybe. He might be there, but I tend to doubt it. But we'll see.
No, I might be in South Beach.
Oh, okay. So that was OVW.
We had this discussion.
That was OVW this week. Good stuff.
Very good stuff.
Potentially, it's not set in stone yet. While he is gone, we may have an OVW superstar in his spot.
Again,
Possibly
I may not be gone.
No, for the show, I'm saying.
I may be back in time for the show next week.
I highly doubt it.
Right.
Jeez.
So now we'll move on to the final part of the evening.
Instead of covering WWE Raw and SmackDown, because as I pointed out to Postmaster, they are unwatchable, the ones before WrestleMania.
Well, I wasn't going to go there. I was going to say the reason we're not covering Raw and SmackDown this week is because the week before WrestleMania, all they're building towards is the show on Sunday. So everything is built towards that. Raw had a bunch of promos towards WrestleMania, and I guarantee you SmackDown's going to have the same this week.
It does.
If they ever come, it's the Raw before WrestleMania, I won't go. And if they come here, I won't go because that's all it is. It's unwatchable.
Well, if the Raw before WrestleMania is here, WrestleMania probably is far from here anyway.
Well,
so let's go over the WrestleMania card.
Maybe
and do our pick'ems as we go along.
Sick'ems.
I'll go with the order they were displayed on the website. I don't know if this is going to be the direct order of the matches, but we'll go this way. First match I have down is Kelly and Maria Menounos taking on Divas champion Beth Phoenix and Eve.
I think the celebrity aspect gives this match to Kelly and Maria.
I like Kelly and Maria as well.
Celebrities always win.
Yeah.
So I don't want to write this down. So let's see.
I'm just circling them.
Okay, I'll circle them too. I'll put a check mark. Okay, so then
That's how I'm going to get you the paper.
Randy Orton.
Fuckers left the set. Oh gosh. Oh, he's back.
He came back.
Hi, Doc.
He came back. All right, so now you have Randy Orton, who's been feuding with Kane recently. Now it's going to culminate in a match at WrestleMania. Who do you like in this one?
I like Kane.
As much as I want Kane to win, there's going to be matches where I want certain people to win, but the other person's going to win. I think Randy Orton wins this one. Randy Orton is 8-1 at WrestleMania. The only match he's lost, The Undertaker. I like Randy Orton.
I'll take Randy Orton.
And now the match that Team Teddy versus Team Joe. The winner gets control of both shows. So whoever wins this match is in control of SmackDown and Raw.
You know what we get to hear? Well, maybe on SmackDown or maybe before this match starts. Listen here, Teddy.
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 So
Drew McIntyre has a match.
taking over.
What the heck?
Taking over for Christian, who was injured.
Again.
Sorry about that.
Again.
I'm excited to see Drew McIntyre.
Finally, yeah, really. So Team Teddy consists of the Great Khali, R-Truth, the U.S. champion Santino, Kofi Kingston, Zack Ryder, and Booker T. Shucky Ducky. Quack, quack. Taking on Team Johnny, consisting of Jack Swagger, Drew McIntyre, David A-List Otunga,
Fail.
Mark Henry,
Sexual chocolate.
Dolph Ziggler,
Fail.
and The Miz.
The Wiz.
I think they've realized that John Laurinaitis doesn't have much.
I'm The Wiz.
Doesn't have much charisma. I think that voice thing is definitely getting annoying.
Thank you.
I definitely think that Teddy Long has the more charisma out of the two, has more crowd appeal, has more charisma, has pretty much more everything. I think the winner of this, from a business standpoint, it definitely makes more sense to give this one to Team Teddy.
I think overall, Team Johnny has a better roster of people. I go Drew McIntyre, David Otunga's getting up there, Dolph Ziggler, and The Miz. Team Teddy has Booker T,
R-Truth,
Kofi
Kingston,
and Zack Ryder. I don't care for Kofi Kingston.
You have his hat. I'll keep reminding you, you have his
With all that being said, even though I like the people better on Team Johnny, I have to agree with the doctor again. I think business-wise, it makes sense for Team Teddy to win. I don't think Laurinaitis is liked personally. As a GM, I think Teddy would be more liked and more personable. I think Team Teddy wins this one.
I go with Team Teddy.
Teddy. And now the match I am dreading to talk about.
Why?
Yeah, Intercontinental Champion.
Maybe I could talk him into not having the match. It'd probably make WrestleMania better anyway, so we don't have to see Cody Rhodes' face.
See Cody Rhodes fail. Intercontinental Champion Cody Rhodes versus The Big Show. I got to go with Cody on this one. I just don't see the Intercontinental Championship switching hands to The Big Show after he has so recently held the WWE Championship.
Again, I want so bad for Cody Rhodes to win this match. And him get a push later on the line for the world title. He deserves it. A match last year with Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania was a big win for him. But at the same time, they've been building this up. Big Show's getting made fun of. He's getting beaten up by Cody Rhodes, this, that, and the other. This is why, unfortunately, I have to pick the Big Show. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it. I will cringe when it happens, but I am picking the Big Show.
Faces always win at WrestleMania, 9 times out of 10. If you look in history, faces do very well at WrestleMania, but in this case, I go with the heel factor, and I take Cody Rhodes.
Wow.
And I'm basically saying I would like to change what I'm saying. I do want to say Cody Rhodes keeps the title. That's what I want to say. He may not win, but I'm saying Cody Rhodes keeps the championship.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now move on to the big time matches.
The 4 main events.
Daniel Bryan, yes, takes on Royal Rumble winner Sheamus,
The Great White.
I gotta go with Sheamus.
the Celtic Warrior.
I think they're pushing Sheamus to overtake him. I think Sheamus gets the title.
I'll say this: I'm very pleased with Daniel Bryan as world champion. I think he did a better job than we previously anticipated.
Yeah, I liked it.
I think the gimmick he has with AJ is hilarious. I think the yes thing is funny. I laugh at that every time. But at the same time, it's Sheamus' time. He won the Rumble for a reason. They obviously want to put their proverbial eggs in that basket for Sheamus. Make him the guy on SmackDown. And I take Sheamus in this one.
The only reason Sheamus won the Royal Rumble is because everybody knew Jericho was going to win.
Well, that's neither here nor there. He still won for a reason.
Right.
Sheamus wins.
Just remember last year, no titles changed hands.
They're both changing hands this year.
So now you have
the
best in the world match. CM Punk versus glow-in-the-dark jacket Chris Jericho.
The Lion Tamer.
I don't think that Chris Jericho can get away with making fun of CM Punk's family the way he has on the last 3 weeks without some sort of repercussion. I think that repercussion is Chris Jericho losing at WrestleMania, I gotta go with CM Punk.
Let's look at Jericho's history of coming back here. He came back around 2006, 2007, feud with Randy Orton, fought him for the world title, for the WWE title at Armageddon. He lost. Then WrestleMania 26, his last WrestleMania he was at, he was the World Heavyweight Champion. He feuded with Edge, and the match ended in no contest. So now you have Jericho come back again to proclaim he's the best in the world. And I think that this feud is going to live up to the hype. These two are obviously very good in the ring. And I think they're going to have another match or two down the line, so that's why I'm going to go with Chris Jericho.
I think Chris Jericho as well. I mean, will he? If he doesn't win, I won't be mad, but I'll be
befuddled.
Use your word,
Befuddled.
if he doesn't win. It won't make sense.
Again, you bring him back for this huge comeback. He said he wouldn't come back. He comes back, and you have him lose. Just makes no sense to me,
Right.
especially since he was supposed to win the Royal Rumble in the first place. So now we get to the end of the era match.
End of an era.
The Undertaker versus Triple H inside a Hell in a Cell. The special referee, Hall of Famer, the icon, Shawn Michaels.
I gotta go with Taker. I gotta say he retires at 20-0.
I say Taker wins and say possibly Michaels might screw Triple H. I don't know if Taker is done at 20-0, honestly. For some reason, I'm hearing buzz around that saying Taker might fight Brock Lesnar at 29. I don't know. I'm just saying, but I do think Taker wins this one.
I think Taker wins. It's an end of an era for a reason because this is his last match. He goes out on top. He wins. And next year, when they go to New York for WrestleMania, they will say that we're inducting Undertaker to the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Could be. So now we get to what we all think. I know me and you think. I don't know about him, but I know.
Oh, just real quick before you get into this main event.
Oh.
I read a thing online that WWE is planning on announcing the main event for next year in like a week or two. Why would they do that again?
That's lame.
And how could you top this main event by announcing it a year early?
I don't know. We'll have to see. You know, I mean, I'd be hyped for it, obviously, because I'm going.
Yeah, but still.
Still. All right,
Yeah.
so
Anyway.
all the smoke is cleared. All the talk is over. Now it's time for the match. You have once-in-a-lifetime match, they're calling. A match that we've all hammered for, wanted to see, never thought we would see, now we're going to see it. John Cena, leader of the C Nation, takes on the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, The Rock.
As much as I don't want to say it, I gotta say Cena wins this match.
You have to look it down to this. Who wants it more? Who needs it more? The Rock, like we said earlier, he beat Hogan and he beat Austin, so he thinks he needs to beat John Cena to cement his legacy. John Cena's been the guy pretty much since he debuted in 2000, since he started. It's in Miami. It's going to be a hostile crowd for The Rock. There's no doubt about that. Cena definitely will be the bad guy in this match. So, this match comes down to who does WWE want to be their guy? It's in Miami. The crowd's going to be hostile. It's going to be a heck of a match. Probably one of the best matches ever. It's going to be a shocker to see it, but I say John Cena wins.
I don't think it'd be a shocker.
It's a shocker to a lot of people.
I don't think it'd be a shock if he wins. It is in Miami. It's in Rock's hometown. It's where he went to school, University of Miami. It's going to be Rock, all the way. So with that being said, I totally agree with you, and I know you were hesitant to say it, but I agree with both of you, and I think John Cena walks out of WrestleMania 28 with his hand raised in victory over The Rock.
All right, so that does it for wrestling. Any wild cards?
I'm good, other than, like I said...
Any idiots of the week?
I think we have two.
We have two.
Okay.
There's been a YouTube video around of the girl who can't figure out 80 miles an hour. So I think that that's basic math. So I think she's going to be our idiot of the week. And the other one, I'm going to have to give to Mr. Spike Lee. And before you label me a racist, which I'm the farthest thing from, listen to this. We all know about the recent shooting of the recent murder of Trayvon I can't remember his last name for the life of me. I really
I
can't.
don't remember.
I know, we know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
everyone knows.
The young gentleman killed for no reason in Florida, and definitely I hope it is avenged via the justice system. But I do have to say, Spike Lee needs to check his facts because he tweeted the address of who he thought was the murderer of this young man in Florida. It turned out it was an 80-year-old woman's address. Sweet old lady. The young man was murdered in a gated community. This woman wasn't even close to any gated community. Spike Lee, way off the map. People came onto this person's yard angry, as they would be.
Right.
If somebody is murdered in cold blood for absolutely no reason, which this young Trayvon kid was. You're going to have some angry protesters when you have the address of the person you think is the shooter. Fortunately, it was cleared up without anybody getting hurt. But way to endanger someone's life, you idiot, Spike Lee. Get your facts straight before you endanger somebody's life like that again. Just because someone was killed in cold blood doesn't mean someone else needs to be either. You're definitely a failure, and stick to making your cheesy movies.
All right. Interesting.
So, that does it for the show this week. Good show as always. If you want to like us on Facebook, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/triplethreattalk. You can follow us on our new Twitter page now at triplethreattalk with 1 T at the end. You can send us any comment or question you have at triplethreattalk@yahoo.com. So, Triple Threat Talk, Commission Postmaster, this is Big B.
This is Postmaster Jones, and I'm taking my talents to South Beach. I can't wait. WrestleMania, here I come. Let's not forget to check out our good friend Terry P. Bodie at facebook.com/Terry P. Bodie for all the insider information with OVW. And who knows, maybe he'll talk about Jose Del Barrio.
Dad, this is the doctor.
Thanks everyone for watching. Enjoy WrestleMania. It should be great.